Some of those flock security cameras across our area are not being used in the way in which they were designed as crime surveillance.
Yeah, that is what they're supposed to be used for. Over the past week, we've been reporting on flock cameras being spray painted over and vandalized. Some even have been sawed off. Now in Pasadena, a council member tells ABC 13's Brianna Willis an officer is accused of misusing the flock camera system. Brianna?
Yeah, Erica and Gina, the councilmen were telling me the officer resigned here just last week following an ongoing investigation. He says that investigation reveals the officer used flock cameras just like this one, not far from the police department, to stalk a fellow female officer here. Now, according to Pasadena City Council member Emmanuel Guerrero, he says the first investigation into the officer misusing the cameras was last year in March. He says that officer was suspended and later reinstated in August 2025. But Guerrero says the next investigation, again also including allegations the officer stalked another female police officer in the department with the flock camera system, started in January. The officer involved has not yet been charged with the crime, but Guerrero says he resigned just last week and says he supports the use of flock cameras to deter crime in the city, but not this.
There's laws that protect public trust. And then the second allegation was the stalking and following of a female police officer. And the stalking and following of any officer is a felony. So there's two felonies at once. The misusage of the flock system is a misuse of public resources by one law enforcement individual.
Yeah, and I did, of course, reach out to the officer involved, but his attorney says they declined to comment at this time. I have also reached out to the Pasadena Police Department multiple times today. We walked in, we called, we emailed, and have texted, but so far, we have not heard back. We're live in Pasadena. I'm Brianna Willis, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
Welcome back, FlightFlock.com. In today's video, we're going to discuss another case of police misuse and abuse of the flock camera database system. Today's case brings us to Pasadena, Texas, where we have Sergeant Michael Palitz, who resigned in June of 2026 under fire for allegedly misusing the flock database system to stalk another female officer, a co-worker essentially. So here is Sergeant Palitz right here. That is him there with the Pasadena, Texas Police Force, City Police. He was hired in 2017 as a street cop, promoted in January of 2023, January 23rd, 2023 to be exact. He was promoted to sergeant. Okay, so he was a supervisor. A supervisor is supposed to have more common sense than the average street cop and is also responsible for other street cops. So you would think he would have more sense than he has to go around stalking another female officer. And then this case actually gets more interesting because if you look into it, he was actually suspended in March of 2025 for doing the same exact thing to another female officer, again, a co-worker. So in March of 2025, he was suspended for 6 months, reinstated in August of 2025. After an investigation, he did stalk another female officer. Again, no charges in that case. And this last case, basically he was allegedly accused of stalking the second female officer in the beginning of 2026, and therefore he resigned in June of 2026 under a lot of pressure. So the heat was on and he finally resigned this past month. So Palitz is a creep, okay? He's a straight up creep, and there was no place for those folks in our police departments, okay? He is straight up a blue line creep. He was promoted to sergeant. Here is his pinning ceremony. They call it a pinning ceremony. That's his wife there. I blocked out her face there. So that's his pinning ceremony. This was when he was promoted to sergeant. This was back in 2023. I believe it was January 2023. So he's promoted to sergeant, and that is the actual picture of the ceremony. The local news report didn't even have a picture of him, and I happened to do some digging and found some photos of this guy. So he is or was a sergeant with Pasadena, Texas, and now he is probably going to find another job in another state with another police force, unless they bring some charges on this guy. Hopefully he faces some violation of oath charges, maybe some stalking charges, misuse of flock charges. There's a number of charges this guy should be facing, okay? But don't get your hopes up, okay? I'm not going to get mine up. So where are we at? Well, we're flock. We talk about flock cameras on this channel. This is all we talk about, right? This is our focus. Okay, we're fighting against this tyranny, the spy cams that are all over our streets. Flock touts how it catches criminals and it makes us safe. Well, I kind of agree with that because, you know, the only criminals that's catching is criminals in blue uniforms, okay, police criminals, all right? So far, this past month in my own state of Georgia, we're at over 20 cops going down over misuse and abuse of flock camera database systems. And that's just what we know about. You know, folks, if we're catching 20 in a month in one state, you know there's more than that. That doesn't count the ones they go ahead and protect. Certain cops are getting protected. You know, it's also it's a buddy system. Just remember that they're going to get rid of the ones they want to get rid of, keep the ones they want to keep. Okay, and you know, once in a while they throw us a bone, fire a guy, charge a guy or a gal, and then keeps us peasants happy, right? So we don't come out with the pitchforks. Okay, so trust me on that. It's way more abuse going on. There's way more abuse going on than we even know. So in this case, Pasadena, Texas case, Sergeant Palitz, he is out of a job. He'll probably find again another job somewhere else. But again, he has two victims, right? So he stalked the first female in 2025, the second in 2026, and his wife's a victim. You know, again, I blocked out her face, so you can't see her face, but she's a victim also. So you have three victims at least in this case, and that's one thing you never hear about. You never hear much about the victims. You hear about, okay, they fired a cop or they charged him with a violation of oath or whatever, but you never hear about the victims, okay? And these crimes have victims, all right? And again, this is just not a case here and a case there. This is at epidemic proportions. These cops are dirty and flocking people all over the country, all over the place. And that's what we know about. You know, we probably only know 1/10 of what's going on, 10% of what's going on. You know, there's way more than that going on, and you don't have to be a mathematician to figure that out. Okay, trust me on that. So, as Flock tracks us, here's our car tag number here, our plate number, our prisoner number. You can call this a prisoner number. So as it tracks our plates and tags all around the country, okay, it makes a breadcrumb trail of everywhere we go, everywhere we've been, and that is a violation of our Fourth Amendment. Obviously, the Supreme Court needs to hear this case and rule against Flock, and I'm sure, in my opinion, it will happen eventually, but until then, these cameras are going up all over the country, 120,000 plus strong right now, according to our tabulations, and growing every day. These cameras they're growing like bamboo all over the place. Okay, so we have to fight Flock in your neighborhood. Show up at your city council meetings, your county commission meetings. Fight Flock wherever you can, when you can. Okay, and again, those folks that say, "Well, it's unsafe. It makes me safer. I feel safer. It catches carjackers, criminals, kidnappers." Well, you know, they used to catch those folks way before there were any Flock cameras. Okay, trust me on that. A good detective could crack a case. Doesn't matter what the technology is or isn't. Okay, I don't want to hear about this safety stuff. Okay, that's all a bunch of crap. Okay, the only criminals they're tracking is us everyday citizens. Trust me on that. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to this channel. Please continue to support this channel. I appreciate all the people that make comments. That helps the algorithm, and giving a thumbs up in there also helps the algorithm. And share the video where you can. Tell your friends and neighbors. Check out the website. Get your Flock decals for your cars. I got the Flock decal on all my cars. I have a lot of folks that purchase these decals. Appreciate all those that do support us, and that shows people where you stand and you're part of the resistance. Be part of the resistance. Don't be a doormat, okay? Don't be a doormat. Thank you for watching.